Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to lesson number 2 in Global Studies class. We're focusing on the topic of what is geography. That is our essential question, and this will be lesson number 2, so you will be continuing with the notes that you started the last time we had a lesson. So today we're going to focus on what we call the 5 themes of geography. In our first lesson we learned that there was physical geography and there was cultural geography, one having to do with the land and the other having to do with the people who live on the land. Today we're going to look at 5 themes of geography, or as a way I like to describe it, lenses through which we look at geography. There are different lenses we use to look at and analyze geography. The first of those, and please write this in your notes, location. On the left side of the line, you can write what is location. On the right side of your Cornell Notes line, you can write, we use longitude and latitude for location, and we use location to describe where we are relative to another place. So for example, if I say that Salem is along the Willamette River, that would be a way to describe Salem's location. If I were to say Detroit is in the mountains next to the lake, that would be a way of describing that location. Place. What is place? Place basically describes what it's like there. So it helps to answer the question, what is it like there? And when we talk about what a place is like, we talk about the physical features that place has, and we talk about the human features that place has. So we talk about the physical geography of that place, and we talk about the human geography of that place. The third thing we look at is called region, and a region is basically an area that is united by similar physical conditions or by common cultural traits. So it can be a region based on what the land is like, or it can be a region based upon what the people are like. So for example, a region united by similar physical conditions, the Pacific Northwest is a region of the United States that has mountains and a mild forested climate. That would be a way to describe the Pacific Northwest region. We could describe Latin America as a region that shares the Spanish language, or in the case of Brazil, the Portuguese language, and has a large indigenous population. That would be a way of describing a cultural region. So there are physical regions and there are cultural regions. Another thing we look at is movement. How do things and people travel from place to place? Is the land flat? Is it mountainous? Are there waterways? Or is it an island, for example? If it's on an island, you're pretty much only going to be able to use a boat or a plane. And is it easy or difficult to exchange goods and ideas? If you have lots of mountains separating people, if you have large bodies of water separating people, chances are the cultures on either side of the mountains or on either side of the oceans are going to be very different. Whereas if it's real easy to travel, if the land is flat, if there are short distances between different regions, chances are there's going to be a lot more exchange between those cultures. So remember, on the left side of the line you'll put what is movement. On the right side of the line you will put those 2 bullet points. And then the last question, what is interaction? I call it human-land interaction. So how do people adapt to the environment that's around them? And how do people change the environment that's around them? So there's that symbiotic relationship again. How do people adapt to the surroundings they find themselves in? So for example, if you live in a place like California that doesn't have a lot of water, one of the adaptations is you build dams and reservoirs to save the water that you do have. And how do you change the environment? And I could actually use that same example. People have changed the environment in California by building dams and reservoirs, which help them to keep their water. So that's actually a 2-way example of human-land interaction. There's also the example of the disappearing rainforests in the Amazon, which we may talk about. In fact, we will talk about at some point this semester. So this is the, I don't want to call it boring, but this is the notes-based way of learning the 5 themes of geography. But on the next slide, we're going to give you a little bit more of a fun way to know the 5 themes of geography. And here we go.
1,
2, 3,
4.
5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. I said 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. Location is a theme of geography. Location is a theme of geography. I said location is a theme of geography. Location is a theme of geography. Location tells you where it is. Location tells you where it is. I said location tells you where it is. I said location tells you where it is. 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. I said 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. Place is a theme of geography. Place is a theme of geography. I said place is a theme of geography. Place is a theme of geography. What is it like when you get there? What is it like when you get there? I said what is it like when you get there? What is it like when you get there? 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. I said 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. Movement is a theme of geography. Movement is a theme of geography. I said movement is a theme of geography. Movement is a theme of geography. People and ideas get around. 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 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. I said 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. Human environment interaction. Human environment interaction. I said human environment interaction. Human environment interaction. What do the people do to the environment? What do the people do to the environment? What does the environment do for the people? What does the environment do for the people? 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. I said 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. Regions is a theme of geography. Regions is a theme of geography. What do locations have in common? What do locations have in common? Climate, religion, language, education. Climate, religion, language, education. States or territories, borders of a nation. States or territories, borders of a nation. 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography. I said 5 themes of geography. We got 5 themes of geography.
Hope you enjoyed that. We might play that a few more times to help you remember your 5 themes in advance of the exam, but for now, we're just going to let that sit with you and we're going to move on. So when we're talking about geography, there's a big picture. Why is this important? Why is half of our global studies class have to do with learning about geography? That's part of the big picture. So what is the big picture? Is your essential question. I want to go ahead and have you take a few notes on this without me giving you bullet points. So the challenge for you is going to be write something down in your notes that's not explicitly written for you on the screen. Let's say take 3 to 5 notes on this video that you're about to see.
I work on hurricanes, I work on earthquakes, I work on tornadoes and floods and a lot of other natural hazards. Geography is really important because we have to have maps that communicate very quickly what happened. I'm a senior physical scientist with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and my name is Gene Longenecker.
You've got to care about geography. In the intelligence world, to understand that something happened is very exciting, but it really isn't valuable unless you understand where it happened. I'm the president of the United States Geospatial Intelligence Foundation, and my name is Keith Masback.
When I wanted to be, geography was very much a two-dimensional subject. Now with Google Earth, you can fly into a city. I'm an economic analyst at the Environmental Defense Fund, and my name is Oluseyi Fayanju.
Being an explorer is basically being a geographer, because you're trying to understand what our world looks like. I am a polar explorer, mountaineer, and expedition guide. My name is Eric Larson. For me, the crux, where there are so many things that can go wrong despite your best efforts. On an expedition, I really rely heavily on a map to better understand where I'm traveling and knowing if I need to get here, some of the obstacles that are in the way.
And that means that Shea Fayonzi of New Jersey is the 1996 National Geography Bee champion.
Studying geography makes you more appreciative of the world as a whole and of being a global citizen. And if you have from an early age been accustomed to thinking of yourself as a global citizen in addition to an American citizen, then that really gives you an advantage.
By simply understanding the physical geography, you have to truly embrace and understand the human geography as well. And that provides things like culture, history, religion, language, ethnicity.
Where a hazard occurs and where people happen to be is something that's very important. We need to know if it's a big earthquake and it's been shaking a lot, did it shake a bunch of people? An earthquake that happens out in the desert doesn't shake people.
Once we're on the expedition, from the field, I can send an email that sends out my blog post, a picture, and my GPS position, my latitude and longitude. And that goes right into a Google Earth layer that marks that on the map. So people can zoom into Google Earth, they can see my route on Everest all the way up to the summit. It allows us to be able to understand our planet and be connected to one another in a way which we've never been able to.
The highlight of my career was certainly what we did in support of the aftermath of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. To take all these systems that we had built for national security purposes and apply them to be able to guide rescuers to their door in time to save them was absolutely a wonderful, wonderful thing.
When we think about the geography bee, it shouldn't just be viewed in a vacuum as like a childhood hobby that just sort of ends there. I think you really sort of look at it as a path that can lead you in a lot of different great directions in terms of your career and in terms of what you think of.
So that was a cool little introduction there, and hopefully you got a few notes down from that. I'm going to pause temporarily and have you guys popcorn out some of what you may have written down. And also, as an aside, we have a geography bee here at Waldo, and now that we once again have a geography class, you guys are going to be well prepared and able to compete very effectively when it comes time to determine our class champions later in the year. So look forward to that. Unless, of course, it's the second semester and it's already over with, in which case there's always next year. But, ladies and gentlemen, with that, it is time to write your summary. It's not going to be very long today. We haven't gone over that much, but you should at least have a summary. And then we'll have a little class discussion, and then we're going to move on and start learning about more details about geography coming soon to a classroom near you. But until that happens, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Mr. Blumendahl once again signing off until next time on the Waldo Middle School Social Studies YouTube channel.